What was it about Getaway that made you excited to direct it?
It was the idea of all the cameras being on the inside and the outside of this car. I like playing with all the technical aspects of a movie, so I knew that it was going to be a huge challenge, and I had this vision from day one that I was going to do it all realistically. In other words, no CG. So all those crashes and stunts that you see are all real. We actually destroyed all these cars.
This car is rigged with tons of cameras all over the place, outside, inside. Are these real cameras that you actually used footage from in the film?
Yes, absolutely. We had 9 on the inside of the car, 13 on the outside of the car. Then we had street cams, and then we had red cams. Top number of cameras in a shot, 42. Average number, 27. And yet we used footage from all those cams. We called them the Shelby cams. And there was a trunk for the car, and it was the brain. We created a brain, and it actually controlled all the cameras on the inside and the outside of the car. And literally before every take, they'd have to turn on all of these cameras and the brain and start it rolling. Then we'd do the take, and then they'd stop the car, and then the guys would run to the trunk, and then they'd turn each camera off afterwards. And so yeah, it's all used in the film.
That sounds somewhat complicated. Did it complicate things, or did it make things easier ultimately?
Editing wasn't easy. It was a task. Sometimes they'd forget to actually turn the cameras off, so they'd roll on for a long time, but no, it wasn't that complicated. It was more the editing process because we had so much footage. There were so many cameras running. Generally in the movie, 2 to 3 cameras, and you're done, except maybe on a big action sequence, sometimes you'll bring in more cameras.
Now, what I found interesting is that there are some horror elements here, although it is an action film and you're known for your love of horror. What was it like having the horror elements in there, and was that something that was important to you to have come across?
It was more the thrills than it was the horror, but the nature of what was going on in itself was horrific. And so when you say horror elements, I'm assuming that's what you mean.
Yeah, and the unknown caller as well.
Yeah, I mean, that was an aspect of creepiness, a little bit of like the jigsaw factor, because he's controlling them.
I'm watching you. Always.
It's like the puppet master. And so that part I liked. That was one of the things that drew me to it in the first place. This was different because the action element of it is how do you top this piece of action to the next piece of action to the next piece of action with so much of it in the movie. So that became kind of like when you're doing a horror movie, okay, we need a scare here, now we need a breather, okay, they think a scare is coming, nope, not quite yet, now we're gonna bring it in. Those are tricks of horror. And here it was sort of a new bag of tricks combined with a little bit of that. So I liked the horror being in it, but it was tackling the new part of the action.